Hi, welcome to the Take 5 podcast, the show that helps strengthen firefighters in protecting those relationships that matter most. I'm your host, Lee Sullivan, licensed mental health counselor and certified emotionally focused therapist. I'm so glad you're here today. Hi, friends in fire service. Welcome to our second episode. Today, we're going to talk about trusting our emotions. So we are all biological, psychological, social, and spiritual beings, every one of us. We have all these different aspects to ourselves. There's a large body of existing neuroscience currently that suggests that we are bonding beings, so much to the point that we experience ourselves through others. In other words, we gain a sense of ourself through the reflection of others. How do others? The same research suggests that everyone is oriented to growing by going into and exploring those emotions that were previously avoided or denied. So typically we understand our emotions by interpreting the actions or behavior of others. But the real magic happens when we understand our own emotions and the signals that they're trying to tell us about what's important to us. So firefighters and paramedics do this already. You have this intuition about people or circumstances. I sort of tend to believe that you've learned it on the job. You take in micro expressions of people on scene, and over time, you develop a sense of who's safe and who's not safe. And in fact, it keeps you, your crew, and your patients safe. Your gut's instinct is often accurate. It's probably why we see firefighters marry so quickly after you meet someone. You've just have this honed intuition about who is trustworthy and who is not. The more you learn what your primary emotions are trying to tell you, the more effective you're going to be at understanding yourself and others. So too little, or conversely too much emotion, can actually be a key indicator of a lack of emotional self-awareness. There's some key markers where emotional awareness might be lacking. So let's just touch on those quickly today. If your partner understands your emotions better than you do, sounds like the setup to a joke, but it's not. When your emotions often get the better of you in an argument, you might be lacking some emotional self-awareness. When your emotions are so strong and overwhelming, and I mean a repeated pattern of this, might suggest that you have a lack of some self-awareness. You often react rather than respond to other people. Maybe you don't have a clue why other people seem to react to you so strongly. There might be a blind spot for you on your own emotions, okay? You might not know what you feel. You might be the exact opposite and just feel numb. That suggests that there's a lack of knowing yourself and just knowing your own emotional experience. You might not know why your arguments end up in a worse place than when they began. Okay? Any of these may be indicators that there's room for growth in your self-awareness about your emotional experience. Let's go through a little vignette here, okay? This will help to grow your own emotional awareness. Think of a recent time when you were blindsided by emotion. Think about what happened and ask yourself, what was the first sign that told you that things were going sideways or off the rails? What were you feeling in that moment? Once you can name the feeling, ask yourself, did you trust this feeling? And why or why not? Did you listen to it? What was the meaning behind it? What did you do with this feeling? How might being more aware of this emotion help you out in the future? Pay special attention to your feelings behind the conflict. In other words, what message was driving your emotion? Were you wanting to feel heard and understood or believed? Did you want to feel, or were you fighting for feeling like you matter or you're important? Next, pay special attention to what you did with your feelings. Did you get big and puffy and assert your authority? Did you go mute and silent, or maybe just agree just to reduce the conflict? Did you walk away? Knowing what you feel and your action response to this feeling helps increase your emotional self-awareness. You can actually better start to anticipate and respond to the emotion signals when they're happening right in the moment. For example, the next time you're blindsided by emotion, you might tell yourself, oh my gosh, I'm amping up because I just want to feel heard and understood. So instead of amping up, you might actually tell someone, this conversation matters a hell of a lot to me. I want to feel heard and understood. Please, can we keep going at this? I may be doing it terribly. I may be not expressing myself very clearly, but I want to feel heard and understood by you. That's important to me. Ultimately, we want to access this information in real time when the wave of emotion hits. Paying special attention to the messages that drive your emotions and paying special attention to your action response to those emotions, it will help increase your emotional awareness so that you can tap into that right when the wave of emotion hits. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that a part of this podcast today helps you to trust your emotions and start to learn to tap into the signals of your emotions and get curious about what those messages are. What is your emotion trying to tell you? Thanks so much for joining me. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Please visit my website, elpascounseling.com, for a list of references used in today's episode. Remember, what we see, we can change, one feeling, one message, one conversation at a time. Thank you for joining me as we learn to tap into our emotion signals to protect and preserve those relationships that matter most. Be safe and be well.